Hello everyone, welcome back. In the previous video, we actually understood the basics of quality of service, and now let's explore how it is actually implemented in networks using two key models, which is integrated services abbreviated as IntServ and differentiated services abbreviated as DiffServ. These models show two different approaches to managing the network resources and also delivering a better performance for different applications. Let's start with the IntServ model. As we discussed earlier, the first internet technology was actually designed to provide only best effort service, treating all data the same. However, some applications like audio and video need guaranteed bandwidth and performance. To solve this, the IntServ model was actually introduced. This is a flow-based QoS model. As we also discussed in my earlier video regarding what do you mean by a flow. A flow is nothing but it is a steady stream of packets that are transmitted between two endpoints which has the same characteristics. Same characteristics in the sense that they originate at the same source and they are delivered to the same destination. So source and destination addresses, port numbers, protocol. If this is common for the packets, we call it as a traffic flow. Okay. So IntServ is a kind of flow-based quality of service technique where resources like bandwidth are reserved in advance for each data flow based on its requirements. Now we have to understand it like how it does it work? What is this flow-based kind of QoS technique? The first thing is it works in three ways. The first one is classification. Here the packets are identified based on the type of service they need. Next comes scheduling. Once you do that, then the routers handle packets according to their priority and also requirements. The third one is the admission control part. The routers check if they have enough resources before accepting a new flow. If not, then the flow is rejected. We covered how the different techniques or what different techniques of the scheduling and everything in my previous video. So just have a quick look at that video and come here if you want to have a better understanding of this mechanism. Okay. Now you got to remember the important point that IntServ works per flow. That means all the resources must be reserved even before the transmission starts. In other words, you got to have a connection setup phase. Unless until a connection is in a kind of way, it is set up and the resources are reserved, the transmission will not be started. But this is based on IP, isn't it? IP is connectionless, and that is the reason we come across a special protocol called as Resource Reservation Protocol, in which is abbreviated and we commonly call it as RSVP, is used to reserve resources and also to support the IntServ model for quality of service. So what is it? What is this IntServ and how does it work? For that, actually, each and every data flow must clearly specify what it requires, what it is expecting. So this is done by using something called as a flow specification, which has got two parts. What are those two parts? The first part is called as RSpec or resource specification. This defines the resources needed such as bandwidth and buffer space. The other part is the TSpec or traffic specification, which describes the nature of the traffic like data rate and flow characteristics. In other terms, what we do here is RSpec actually defines what the resources the network must guarantee for a particular flow. Basically, it tells the router this flow needs this minimum resources for working properly. That's it. Whereas the traffic specifications or the TSpec is going to specify or define how data will be sent by the source. It tells the router that this is the pattern of traffic that I am going to generate. So these two, both of them make up the flow specification, where based on the flow specification, it passes on to the router to take a decision of whether accepting the flow or rejecting the flow. That means based on this, the router has to verify whether it has got enough resources to support this flow or not. That means if there are enough resources, the flow is accepted. But in some cases, the router might not be good enough, or might not be able to provide enough resources, then the flow is rejected. This decision of either accepting it or rejecting the flow specification is dependent on the router's current load and its existing commitments. That means there might be other flows passing through the same router. That is the reason. Okay. So the next thing we have defined here is there are two service classes. So there are two main service classes in integrated services. What are these service classes? The first service class is called as a guaranteed service. This is actually designed for real-time applications like voice and video. It does provide a guaranteed delay and bandwidth. It ensures that packets are delivered on time and without loss. This without loss is as long as the traffic follows the T-spec which is mentioned in the flow specification. That means if a host says that I'm going to send 100 bits per second, just imagine for example's sake, and if it starts 1000 bits or 10,000 bits per second, way beyond the limit that it specified, you might not be able to provide this kind of guarantee. So this is a quantitative service, meaning exact values like delay and data rate are defined because we know beforehand itself what the resources are and what kind of traffic that the source is going to generate. Once I know that, I can do this. This service or this service class is called as a guaranteed service, whereas the second one is called as a controlled load service. This is designed for applications that can tolerate some delay. This actually focuses on providing low packet loss and a stable performance. This is good enough for applications like file transfer, email, and web browsing. Unlike the guaranteed service, it's a qualitative service, which means it aims for good performance, but not with strict guarantees. That is what, okay? So these are the two service classes that IntServ defines. Now, based on these service classes, we come across the new protocol called as a Resource Reservation Protocol, abbreviated as RSVP. So RSVP is a protocol that is used on top of IP to reserve resources before data transmission. So RSVP is a separate protocol and can also be used with other QoS models also. It is mainly designed for multicast communication, one to a group, one sender to multiple receivers, but it can also work for unicast as well. Now, what are the things that are part of this particular RSVP protocol? You have to remember the point that in RSVP, it is the receiver that requests the resources, not the sender. The receiver decides how much bandwidth or QoS it needs. This approach is useful in multimedia applications where users may need different quality levels. As I told you, there is not just one kind of application on the internet. There are different types of applications that are present. So for that purpose, you got to have an approach where different applications might specify different kinds of needs, isn't it? So for this purpose, for implementation of RSVP, there are two kinds of RSVP messages. The first message is called as a path message. The second one is called as a reservation message. What does these two things do? Check it out. The path message is actually sent from the sender to the receiver. This is what. Let us assume that this one, S1 is the sender and all these are receivers 1, 2, 3. So this path message is the one which is sent out and is received by all the receivers in the group. So this helps the receivers to understand the route, what are the routers, etc. Whereas the second message, the reservation message, is actually sent by the receivers to the sender. This is sent back to the sender itself. While this message goes back, it actually keeps reserving the resources on the routers along the path. So each and every router that is present on the path between the receiver and the sender now has to preserve the resources that is required for this particular flow from this sender. There is something called as reservation merging also. So what is that reservation merging? If there are multiple receivers which are requesting different bandwidths, I'll show you in this particular image with the help of this image. The router chooses the highest requirement. In this way, a single reservation can satisfy all the receivers. If you see here, this particular receiver 2 is specifying for 1 Mbps, but the router has advertised 2 Mbps because receiver 3 has given 2 Mbps. So it has merged this 1 Mbps into the highest requirement of 2 Mbps and advertised for allocation of 2 Mbps to the router on the uplink. Similarly, here 3 Mbps is there, here also another 3 Mbps is there. So finally a link for 3 Mbps will be requested. This is called as reservation merging. Okay, then comes the reservation styles. The reservation styles are used to control how network resources are allocated when multiple senders and receivers are present within a flow. The first one is called as a wildcard filter, abbreviated as WF. Here, one shared reservation for all senders, and it is used only when one sender transmits at a time, and it is also based on the highest need. That is the first style. The second one option is called as a fixed filter, FF. This here, it is actually used when there are multiple senders which may transmit. That is the reason what we have here is we have a separate reservation for each sender, more strict one. The third one is shared explicit, where one reservation is shared among selected senders. Here it is used when a selected group of senders share the resources. So these are the three reservation styles which are supported by your integrated services. And also the RSVP protocol uses a soft state. You know what does it mean by soft state? Which means their reservations must be refreshed periodically. Whatever you are sending across the routers, for this has to be refreshed. The router maintains the state, and if a update does not reach or does not come within a time span of 30 seconds, that reservation will be automatically removed from the state. So it is pretty simple and basic, but it has two major limitations. What are the two limitations? The first one being scalability issue. So each router must store information for every flow, which becomes very difficult as the internet grows. Core routers are designed for fast packet forwarding, but not for maintaining large amounts of data, which becomes very complex for a large group of networks. Similarly, this also provides only two service types, just we discussed. One is a guaranteed service type and the other one is a controlled load service. It's not flexible, isn't it? Because most of the applications may need more flexibility or varied different types of QoS options, not just two. That is the reason we go for the next model, which we call it as differentiated services model. Integrated services works well, but requires routers to maintain information for every flow, which is very complex and becomes a tedious task with the network keeps on growing every day. To overcome this, especially the scalability issue, this new approach of differentiated services has been introduced. This particular model works on classifying the traffic into separate groups. Now, for this purpose, if you remember the header formats of IPv4 and IPv6, we have a field called as differentiated service field. This field is set at the network boundary by the host or the edge router. It replaces the older TOS field in IPv4 and the priority field in IPv6. As I discussed earlier, this DS field has got two parts. The first part is called as a DSCP or differentiated services code point, which consists of 6 bits in length. It actually defines how the packet should be treated in the network. The other part is the CU bit. This was originally left unused, but in the latest versions, these 2 bits are actually used for explicit congestion notification, and this is used for congestion control. So routers read this particular DSCP based on the 6 bits value and decide how to handle each packet. Here we come across something called as a per-hop behavior. I'll tell you how it is linked to DSCP in a bit. But understand that each router now applies a specific per-hop behavior based on the DSCP value. There are 3 main types of PHBs. In the DiffServ model, each packet carries a 6-bit value in the DS field called as DSCP. This value is going to tell each router how to treat the packet at every hop, that is the reason we call it as a per-hop behavior, abbreviated as PHB. In simpler terms, your DSCP is the instruction and the PHB will be the action taken by the router upon reading this instruction. As I told you, there are 3 types of PHBs, isn't it? The first one is called as a default or DEPHB, default behavior, which is same as the best effort service. There is no special priority given or there are no guarantees. And typically this DSCP value is usually 6 zeros. The second one is expedited forwarding. That means it provides low delay, low loss and guaranteed bandwidth. This is actually suitable for real-time applications like voice and video. The DSCP value is commonly 101110 for this particular type of PHB. The third one, called as assured forwarding PHB, it actually divides traffic into different classes: AF1, AF2, AF3, AF4, each with its own drop priority. What it does is it provides better service than best effort by increasing the chances of successful packet delivery. During congestion, packets with the lower priority are dropped first, ensuring more important traffic is preserved. So these are the 3 types of PHBs that are defined by the DiffServ model. So default, expedited and assured. Default is nothing but it is same as your best effort service. Okay. These are the 2 which will actually assist the routers, or which will be given by the routers to the packets based on their values in the DSCP field. Now, to implement this particular differentiated services, we require the following things. How do we control and how do we manage them? The first one is called as a meter. So the meter checks whether the incoming traffic follows the agreed traffic profile or not. It measures the flow and determines if it is within the limits, often using techniques like the token bucket. It then sends this information to other components for further action. What are the other components? The next one is called as a marker, isn't it? So the marker assigns or modifies the priority of the packets based on the information from the meter. You can see if the traffic exceeds the allowed profile, it can lower the priority of the packets. That means it is down marking the packets, but it does not have the capability of increasing the priority of packets. That is what a marker does. It passes this information to the shaper. Now the shaper controls the traffic flow by adjusting it to match the required profile. If the traffic exceeds the limit, it delays some packets to smooth the transmission and maintain a steady rate. The last one is the dropper. In case it actually discards the packets when the traffic severely violates the allowed limits. As I told you, the flow specifications and stuff. It works like a shaper, but without buffering, meaning excess packets are simply removed instead of being delayed. So in other words, IntServ and DiffServ are the 2 ways to provide quality of service, one giving guaranteed resources and the other providing a scalable traffic prioritization. So this is regarding the quality of service. So if you enjoyed the video, thank you very much.